So meditation and sleep. A lot of people come to learn Vedic meditation because they aren't sleeping or they're struggling with sleep. And, they have realized that alcohol actually, while it might loosen them up, it actually disturbs their sleep. There is a lot of evidence and science for this now. They don't want to become reliant on other substances or other things, are effective for a while, but aren't really getting to the root of the issue. And there is a lot of data, both anecdotal and research based, about how meditation, this form of meditation in particular, can improve the quality of your sleep and also allow for greater duration. And so, the short of the long is the kind of rest that we experience in Vedic meditation is different than the kind of rest we get in sleep. You are in a hypnagogic state in meditation or a wakeful hypo-metabolic state, which means that in many ways, physiologically, if we were to, take a scan of your vital signs and whatnot, it would look like you're awake, yet your eyes are closed, or you're in this incredibly, restful, relaxed state where those vital signs, even though they might resemble what it is to be like awake in the world, they are all settling, and they're all in concert, are all settling into a much more de-excited state, so that in that kind of low grade excitation state, the body feels safe enough to start to actually let go of accrued stress, of tensions, of things that it's been holding on to physically, mentally, emotionally. And it can actually, like, let's say, take out the garbage, especially of all of the mental, emotional stresses that get stored in there, because it's not like we like neatly file away every little stress that we experience in our life and we can just kind of discreetly pull out each discrete experience and then toss them away when we're done with them. It's kind of like a compost pile, all the stresses and all the things that we're not dealing with, if we don't have a formal way of processing the stress or these like different, cognitive habitual responses to stimulation, or to stimulus in life rather. They all get kind of like thrown in the compost heap, and to make room, they start to disintegrate and meld into the compost mess. And so when you're actually releasing stress in meditation, you're not just pulling out individual things, you're taking out the kind of decomposing stuff that's been packed in and stuffed down. And so that's a very particular kind of rest. And it's a rest that allows for the nervous system to feel more rejuvenated, for you to feel like you have more energy. And, in a metaphorical but also literal sense, you do have more energy because you have more space in the body. You're no longer holding on to memories, emotions, feelings, energy that is from 40 years ago, or that's irrelevant, that no longer, you don't need that fear. Maybe that fear was relevant when the tiger walked in the room, but there isn't a tiger here today, so you don't need to have that memory, right? Or that stress memory. You can let that go. And when you let certain things go, you have more capaciousness for the body to be more flexible, more expressive, more creative, more rested, so that it can respond fully and adaptively to whatever might present itself. Now, in sleep, we actually need to experience a different kind of sleep. We have REM sleep, which is a big part of memory compression and cohesion. You also need to be lying vertical or horizontal rather, for a certain amount of time to regulate blood pressure. That's something that's obviously not happening when you're sitting in meditation. You also need to be kind of in that horizontal state, and you need to be asleep in that horizontal state for the synovial fluid to rehydrate the spine and the joints in a way so that you actually, like, we always say you're a little bit taller when you wake up in the morning. You actually will only get that through sleep. Because in Alexander, we do a form of lying down work with eyes open called constructive rest. Does many things for us, but it won't actually fully allow the synovial fluid and everything to flow back into the spine and the body. For some reason, that's something that can only happen during sleep. And so sleep is just providing a different kind of rest. It's doing a different physiological kind of cleanup. So if your body, though, is overstressed, overtaxed, all of these things, which most of us are if we're not meditating or somehow developing some kind of contemplative practice, then in sleep, the body has to do both kinds of rest and cleanup at the same time, when it's really not designed to do that. It's, you're asking a lawyer to also be your doctor. Well, probably not the most efficient or best use of that person's time, right? Or your time, because you're not really getting great medical attention because there's no training in that. So when we actually provide the body those 20 minutes twice a day for a very particular kind of stress release and, body maintenance, then when we sleep, the body is less taxed. It's less stressed to begin with. So it has more facility, more energy, more focus, if you will, to actually do the job of what sleep is, to regulate blood pressure, all these other things, to condense memories, and to just overall rest the physiology in a very physical way so that we can wake up and, kind of have our full resources. Physically as well as mentally available to us, because the body is the mind and the mind is the body. You need to rest both to kind of feel most optimally aligned within oneself.